Playtime makes Stitches hungry.
Dread, when are we going to get a Stitches?
I don't know. Hopefully today. Not really. I'd be fine without it, you know? We were just talking about how China and Europe have both busted out the Stitches quite a bit recently.
Even today from Europe.
Yeah. But not in North America. Not yet. We are yet to see that.
We did get the NA Probius, so maybe there's a chance today.
Maybe. Although Faye plays both of those heroes, so maybe we got more of like the Faye factor coming into NA more than it was the crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, she just plays a little bit of everything.
Hey, if K1 Pro is playing more melees now, maybe that's going to be something he busts out, just hooks for days.
That'd be pretty neat, actually.
I would love that.
I would pay to see K1 Pro on Stitches.
All right, K1 Pro, you've heard our call. Please answer it. Meanwhile, Team Freedom have to answer something of their own. They lost game number 1, probably going to pick first pick. Let's see what B-Step have chosen, or, well, Team Freedom, if they want to get first pick again, as we go to our Battleground pool. Yes, Team Freedom choose first pick. Very consistent with them, their choices so far. B-Step taking us to Infernal Shrines. That is a Battleground they picked versus Naventic as well.
So, you know, things sticking to what they know for both the squads here. The fact that we're going to have it on Infernal Shrines, it's nice to see a map priority being the same as well when looking at B-Step. It's just, anytime you can get consistency, it builds framework to be able to improve on rather than constantly changing variables. You never truly get to figure out like how you get better. I think that's actually something that's really underestimated in gaming, is that you have to build a norm before you can figure out what you need to do to get better at it. And that's why you do, like, I harp so heavily on like learning to play standard is the first step to learning how to be like good at the game, because you can't be better than standard. Everybody goes like, you got to break the mold, man. You got to mix things up. And it's like, nah, you got to figure that out first. And then once you understand why it works the way it does, that's where you see teams break the mold.
That's also why we had a lot of high hopes for Team Freedom in Part 1, because even though they would lose games, lose series, they were willing to say, no, we're going to stick with the things that we do feel strongly with and make adjustments there instead of trying to wildly pick different compositions, different metas, even like B-Step were doing at Part 1. But the difference is, for B-Step, it was about finding themselves. It was about finding, you know, what they wanted their team identity to be as a new roster together. Yeah, they've been playing together, several of the members, but having McIntyre in with them was the new factor.
Freedom banned down the Malfurion. B-Step almost inevitably are going to ban the Tassadar here. One thing I do love that we see out of Korea with L5 is in this situation, not this one exactly, but it's common for them as the second ban team to ban out the Vala rather than going with the Zarya Tassadar, because they suddenly are going, we don't really care if you take one of those. It's when they're paired with that, you know, the trio, the insane amount of energy, production, and cross-supporting that exists between Ariel, Vala, and then, or Ariel, Vala, and then whatever shielder you can get. Just remove Vala from the equation, and suddenly you force them into, is Gul'dan or Ariel worth it here? And most of the time, Vala is, but those two are less, you know, prioritized.
Especially in this particular series, Team Freedom loves Zarya so much. You can see just by how fast they picked her. Then it may even have been that B-Step never would have had to worry about Tass anyway. It could have been that Freedom favored her over that. But Vala, Ariel, still up and available for B-Step on Shrines. Last time they picked Gul'dan and Malfurion. So similar priorities having arranged. It's just the difference of what support that they can get along with a range that goes with it.
So for Freedom here, in this draft, when we saw them on Infernal Shrines, we didn't.
Only
actually,
one game.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that bad. So then, what is a Freedom staple? Ragnaros. Infernal Shrines in Korea still sees play. Ragnaros on this map. Oh.
Nice.
It came out.
Yeah.
I was just suggesting that's a comfort, and we see it in Korea, so maybe.
I wouldn't have even called it because they never picked it last time.
Yeah, it just...
in all 5 games.
That was honestly just legitimate coincidence. I apologize.
No, claim it.
No. That's not me.
Oh, the prophet.
When I actually truly feel like I nailed something, I'll be like, oh, but like, you know, when I don't, it's just, I accept that sometimes got the old Luckaroon on the side.
Blessed by the Nexus.
Blessed by the Nexus.
In your predictions.
I'll nail this one. Lucio?
Yeah, what if they just banned Lucio?
Well, I said it, so it can't be wrong, though. That's how that works, right?
I already regret. Complimenting you on that choice. I immediately regret it. I apologize to everyone who has to watch the rest of this draft.
Well,
there we go.
Thankfully, they answer quickly and say Dread is still going to be a dingus. We're going to ban out the Arthas. Sonya removed. Understandable. Ariel Sonya has seen a surprising amount of respect and synergy across the world. Not so much in just North America, more so looking at China and Korea when talking about that. But they show a surprising amount of respect to the duo there and what they provide on the map. It just seems weird because it's kind of anti-synergistic to what at least the Sonya wants in her support and what Ariel provides. That burst healing being focused on only her, like unless you have a full dive comp. I have questioned how good they are together, but in all teams seem to have some general respect towards that doubling up.
When they played Navintic on Infernal Shrines, B-Step played a double support, double backline composition. Or no, it was a warrior and a melee assassin with Thrall. So potentially a new Barak here if they want the same exact. But yeah, they're going to run Lucio this time, and that's even stronger than what they had before. Before it was Ariel Mouth. Now they have Ariel and Lucio. So now we see why no ban on Lucio. B-Step take both of those strong supports, and Team Freedom's not left with many choices.
The worst part is the fact that they're not left with any option to move into a global, because that is the first counter to this playstyle that B-Step has provided. You sacrifice the actual shrine itself, you Ragnaros it up, take the Molten Core, eat the first few waves, but you make up for so much on your global pressure, levels 1 through 10, that it's justified. Then you have so much pressure after that point, sieging up here and there. Again, anytime you see the double warrior, double support, your first thought should be, how do I not fight directly into the strat? It's not that it's impossible to team fight into. It's just it's so weak on macro and so good at team fighting. Why give it to them if you can avoid it?
What will Zugrug play?
Varian. That seems even more out of place, committing more to the team fight, less macro. He's 0 wave clear on the Varian there. So Team Freedom just kind of doubling down, saying, you want to battle? Let's go. B-Step here, if they just pick any frontline, any warrior, more CC the better. Probably Muradin makes the most sense. Leo is a thing, though. Does it work into this composition? It does okay. So I can see, I would say Muradin or Leoric.
Leo would allow them to leave him more solo. And then you have the rotation of all 4 of those heroes.
Well, Nubarak can be the solo-ish at times to match into the Ragnaros, but yeah, Leo would be better. It's just, I do think that maybe with, it's funny because I say that like my biggest fear of going into Leo is you lack too much damage, but it's like, why would Muradin do more damage? And it's more just Muradin has so much more CC that he should be able to enable his team to do more damage and not look at this as a damage problem. But they disagree. They're going to go still with the Leoric here for B-Step. Classic for King Caffeine. Those were the 2 heroes he was known for, was Leoric and Muradin.
So you think Caff will play Leo?
Yes.
Even though he played the Anu Barak
K1
last time?
Pro will play a new Barak.
Okay.
That's my guess. We're learning as you guys are in that one. You know, because those guys, they mix it up way more than even 4 flexes and a support did, which was mainly, does Equinox play this warrior? And if not, Crone was going to play it. And now it's like, B-Step is the true 4 flex and a support, if anything. They've got a warrior, they've got a support, and then there's just a bunch of flexes.
I snuck a look, and you're right. K1 Pro's playing Anu.
Nailed it.
Nice.
Cheater. You got to have some integrity. Remember, you don't claim it, and you can't cheat. You're so BM sometimes, you know?
What did I do?
I don't know. I'm just trying to make you feel morally in the wrong. I can't tell why. I'm sure I'll gain some.
She's gonna knock me down. I was talking about talents. I got a couple of nice tweets about it. Now you're just gonna knock me down.
You just gotta make sure, you just keep you in check.
Oh, I see. Well, we're about to get into this. We've got double support, double warrior. Let's hear your thoughts. Dread Wisdom.
I think that Freedom, by picking the Varian, all in banked on matching them when it comes to raw team fighting, and they just don't win there. Like, as long as B-Step doesn't fall 2 levels behind pre-16, I would say very confidently their game.
Varian is, I believe, 1-8 with Superstars loss with him so far in HGC.
In Europe. I think it lost in Europe. I don't think it's been doing well, and I think even today it suffered some more losses. So
Varian's having a tough time.
Yeah, that's it's a cruel world to be a new warrior. Excuse me, he's multi-class. I take it back.
Hey, maybe we'll see Colossus Smash this time. Let's see what Zugrug picks. We're ready for game number 2. Can Team Freedom tie it up? We find out now.
Colossus Smash. I would like that. I would honestly like that more than Taunt. Even in this game, I think it would make a bit more sense. But I'm gonna say doubt it. Nobody. For all the levels of innovation that North America likes to have at times, I'm always amazed when it goes to heroes that are already big in the meta, how little innovation towards heroic choices when they are borderline, a thing. Some of them may make sense. Like Zeratil's Shadow Assault versus Void for the longest time was like, ha! Shadow Assault in 2016. Nice meme, right? But this is a different case. Like Varian actually, like, his taunt's insane, but since it's been nerfed and the rise of him is like, I've just been surprised at, like, why not mix things up on any hero that you have really close to double viable heroics.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, even you look at, like, the talent variation that we see in other regions.
Yeah.
In the stubbornness to change up some of the talent builds. It took Korea proving to us that Q build Gul'dan was fine before everyone was like, oh, hey, what's this build?
Which is funny because actually North America started with Q build, and then they went, lol, Echo Corruption is so insane. Let's take that at level 1, and that makes him insane of a hero. And then Korea went back to Q build, and they're like, nah, Q build's got it.
We always have to make sure that our Korean overlords approve of our talent choices.
I mean, it helps us in a lot of cases. You and I talked about the early stages of Lucio builds in North America, and those still grind my gears a smidge when I think about them.
I had a friend I was playing with yesterday, I think. She's a support main. She took one look at, we moved together that a opposing team picked, and she was just like, and she is the nicest person, so she does not get tilted. She's just like, we moved together. She was not very happy. It was so funny.
I do it all the time.
I've never heard her be tilted before. So cute.
anytime I'm playing in Hero League and I just see like the most absurd talent taken, I just sit there and go like, if I lose to this person right now, like I'm gonna have so little self-respect by the end of this match. It's usually worse on supports than not. Just because
you're support.
Yeah, I just played so much support that it's just like, if I see one where I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense to me at all, I just get so sad. I'm just like, guys, we lost to an insert ridiculous talent here version of heroes.
For a while, that was Hinterland Blast, but it's making a comeback slowly.
It's getting there.
First shrine underway.
APM already felt the respect of Zugrug there with his first initiation. Dansky decided to join the squad. 11-7 when it comes to Skeletal Defenders. 5 versus 5 here up top. Cap looking to join up.
Now we see if Insomnia wants to Molten Core in order to help get those, or if he's going to save it for the defense, and he is going in.
He is going in. That was not what I expected to see. We'll see if they can get the remaining 23 needed. Kafarek walking out. Thanks to his level 4, going to take less damage there.
There's a lot of area damage, but the rest of Team Freedom are pretty low, trying to make those minions group up so that Ragnaros can steal them, but Molten Core is over.
Oh, that burrow coming out from K1 Pro. Nasmus stun against the wall. That's going to be a first kill. K1 can't make it out. Collusion with the bites. He's going to get the pick here. 25-25 still in Skeletal Defenders. But with already the health bars of Freedom so low, B-Step will be able to back out here, pick themselves up the Punisher, so no defensive Molten Core up. Still 3 out, but Calf should be able to have that. That's a bit of beauty of having Leoric and really kind of overextend. Actually, speaking of, he's going to use that Wraith Walk offensively.
He's looking for Sound Wave too. Insomnia stays alive thanks to a nice shield from Nazmus. Here comes the Punisher. Yeah, the Molten Core, some of the damage was put onto some of the players from B-Step, as well as trying to get the minions, but they were, it's sort of the luck of the spawn, luck of the draw, how much was going to be there.
Yeah.
And with Freedom using a lot of their taps, they couldn't go in and try to group more up from that too. Only Rhaegar had a tap up that he could start to move back in, but Varian was super low. So B-Step will get the first Punisher, and with the wall, have about a level advantage.
I think as a general rule, for when we see Ragnaros use Molten Core on Infernal Shrines, if he uses it for the actual Skeletal Defenders itself in the fight on the Shrine, you need to be hitting your opponents as well as hitting some of the Skeletal Defenders. Getting a little bit of value on both the objective and forcing pressure onto them, but then also damage output onto them. Anytime it's only committed to one or the other, it generally would have been better on the defensive if you were going to lose that, or even offensive.
He did throw damage, but against the double support, everyone could heal right back up.
I mean, that's a good point, too. Into a double support, it'd be even that weaker, right? It just, like, the whole first half was like, here, let me peel off of my team and get damage output. And anytime I see that, I'm just like, it just doesn't feel like it is optimally timed in considering. But now if that had been on the Shrine itself and you're poking the Skeletal Defenders, wall poking them off and zoning them out, it feels significantly more effective.
That's something that we've seen a lot more, is teams be more willing to use Molten Core to capture the Shrines. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it ends up putting you further behind. It's a risk, a calculated risk that Team Freedom are willing to take. By the way, keep an eye on McIntyre and how many times he hits that Detainment Strike, because he is building into it at level 4 with repeated offense. So every time he can get a stun from that, he has to get 6. It massively increases the damage. And he's going full damage build right now with even Searing Light at level 1. So trying to supplement the fact that it is a double support composition, double warrior, by making sure that he has a good damage output.
Yeah, it should be noted, though, this build, even if you were a solo support, isn't unheard of. Only repeated offense, that level 4 you're talking about, is the only crazy one. In heavy Deathball compositions, we still see the 1, and I would honestly consider the 7 at this point a staple to her, where it wasn't when she originally released, going for the cooldown. Another Shrine, another Punisher. Freedom is currently sitting 20 Skeletal Defenders up, but they do have camps matching up in the top lane as well, so will B-Step be able to zone off, get the pressure? It's going to start with Calf getting a Drain Hope.
This is a better Molten Core too, 29 to only, I think, 17 the first time. So here comes the damage from that Molten Core, as well as the poke that Dainsky can provide too. This is looking really good for Team Freedom to be able to get the second Punisher, and it came down to the faster timed Mercenary camp top for Freedom, that they could make that rotation faster, get set up. And that may be what it just comes down to for using Molten Core to be able to offensively get Punishers.
Yeah, things are looking great after the first Punisher, looking towards the second right now for Freedom. Kills dead even, structures remained almost identical when it comes to the evenness. I feel unfair on saying that because there is still a Shaman camp wailing away up on top that Ragnaros is now going to answer to. Thought for a moment might be able to get that fort.
Heroics online for B-Step. Nothing out of the ordinary. Freedom. No Colossus Smash. Taunt once again.
They do have set up for the Sulfurous Smash to be effective, though. The Sulfurous Smash damage was untouched. It was just the cooldown, meaning that if in fights it is followed up the same way it was before the nerf, it should be just fine. It's just you get less opportunity to casually throw it out. And we know that the center damage versus the circle, all the damage it does, is pretty much only dead center really matters. Not only just for the CC, but the damage output being so high. B-Step takes advantage of a rotation coming out from Freedom to the bottom half. They will be able to get this fort.
Yeah, anytime you can take down forts on Infernal Shrines, it's a big win, since you know that if a shrine spawns in that lane, you can start doing damage to the tastier structures, the keep level ones. As that fort goes down, B-Step starts to rotate down. Team Freedom did steal the camp, but doesn't get much more out of it. Except the denial for B-Step to get their own.
I'm trying to figure out if B-Step is going to get this collapse onto this camp. And it looks like they are going to. They showed on mid for a little bit long. King Caffeine now showing that this is going to be a full 5-man. There goes the Entomb onto Nasmus, but so much damage already on the backline. Detainment Strike coming out from McIntyre, getting the peel, and Wraith walking on out. B-Step looked to invade and realized it's something they didn't want a part of after that Entomb, but it's fine. Entomb very, very low cooldown, already 30 seconds until it's back up.
And not even a panic expulsion zone or horrify any of the heroics from Team Freedom, so very well done. Staying calm, being able to zone the rest of the team away from King Caffeine's Entomb. And just in time for a Shrine, all heroics still up for Team Freedom. Entomb will be right back in action though too for Leoric. And this time B-Step are making a faster rotation too, understanding of what happened in the last Shrine phase that led to them losing it.
13 power spike is really big for specifically Leoric. He suddenly becomes just terrifying by the end of his Drain Hope. Spikes a burst of damage for 10% of the max HP, and that chunks. So if they end up getting that, expect B-Step to really be able to pull ahead purely off of Caffeine, one of the few 13 power spikes in the game. But for now, without that being reached, 12 here for Team Freedom. Good knock-up strafe's going to be used there by iDream. Taunt on the K1 Pro. Horrify as well. All the cooldowns are going to be used, so this is going to be a moment for B-Step to turn it around. 2-man Entomb. No sound barrier.
Too.
They move up. Zugrug on the backline, using the shield wall. Ancestral lands. Caff and the rest of K1, or B-Step, excuse me, getting the pick onto the Gul'dan.
K1 Pro dives in, takes out Nasmus too. 2 kills, some B-Steps from yours truly, APM. And what's up?
What just happened? Things were so just okay, and I looked from one monitor to the next, and then Gul'dan just dead. How did that? The fight was pretty close to even, and then Gul'dan just decided to nope up. What happened? Did he?
Yeah, he just blew up out of nowhere.
He just was like, you know, I don't want to play this video game anymore, and he just walks. That was crazy. I literally have 2 monitors sitting right in front of me, and I went from one to the other, and I was like, Gul'dan's fine, the fight's fine, okay, it's going to be even. Swap monitors, and Gul'dan's dead. I just got bodied.
I would like, maybe if we could see that again. I don't know. Was it McIntyre?
It's beyond me.
All right. We'll try to see if we can get that again. But either way, the 2 kills nets B-Step a Punisher. And because they took the time to get that top 4, although it was pretty low anyway, they can march right on to the keep structures. Insomnia uses Molten Core. Still has Sulfurous Smash, so if he wants to turn this around to try to get that so that his team can get some kills off of this Punisher push. But there's always Leoric to be able to sacrifice.
There is always the sacrifice of Leoric. He's usually, at this point in the game, just kind of like a, you know, you stop the bleeding, but it's once you hit the 20 mark where you expect death timers to be longer, and you really, it's getting 1 kill is an achievement. Talking about getting 1 kill. The Taunt Dream, the Horrify hitting Ariel, so no Aegis range, but the Sound Barrier and the Aegis, they somehow get it. He was 1% for so long. How did he survive?
Oh, that amazing timing from both. It did overlap, but still keeping iDream alive was everything. A Detainment Strike right afterward, too, through Rhaegar back. iDream is saved by B-Step. They had to use a lot of tools to do it. Ancestral Healing came out for Team Freedom, though. So that is a little bit of a win, as was Horrify too. I thought that Horrify was for sure going to let Team Freedom win the fight.
Yeah, because it was a perfect split between all the supports. I was like, there's no way they get to him in time. There has to be enough damage, but somehow they didn't finish off iDream. All the supporting tools were there from the double support of B-Step, and they keep him up. And you know, you got to ask yourself, what happened to Sulfurous Smash in this game so far? Because we're yet to see a single throwdown. And now I can understand being more conservative with it, with the cooldown duration, but
it is still an ability.
It is still one that, yeah, usually in MOBAs, I'm relatively new to them, but I have heard you're more likely to win the game if you, in fact, use your R button.
Press your buttons.
Yeah, so you have 3 buttons to the left of that. They're okay. But the far right button, the R1, is really strong.
It can be hard to try to figure out when to use it and not get baited out from Crystal Aegis. So between the two super supporty heroic abilities of B-Step, trying to make sure that he can use it, but yeah.
I just thought for sure when you see a insane split like that after Gul'dan, you're like, I'm either going to hit the Ariel outside of the Horrify, or near the end of it, I'm going to hit my kill target, or I'm going to try and hit the other support. And just the fact that it's not even used, it's really surprising. If it goes past the 16 fight without use, I'll be amazed, honestly. 16 is just now going to trickle in here for Freedom. So they're down 13 of the skeletal defenders. They move up. There goes the taunt.
There's a Sulfurious Smash, but the Aegis stops it, but it won't stop Horrify. Vala walks right into her death. A kill for Team Freedom, and it is so needed right now. They continue on to the shrine, pushing B-Step away. Now, B-Step have 25 out of 40, but 30 seconds until Vala will be back up. Can they do anything? Can they try to poke down some of these skeletal defenders?
They can't with Vala being the dead one, right? Pretty much anyone else can die and this be a okay position for B-Step, but having a singular damage source makes her life that much more valuable and puts their team very far behind now. What can Freedom get after this Punisher? Sulfurious Smash sitting up in 30 seconds. Will be back off cooldown. Zelgra cannot get a follow-up here onto this Punisher. The first fork going down. What can they get past this keep front wall?
Cat uses Wraith Walk. Jump fairly soon. There it is, along with Taunt. Expulsion Zone zones away. Crystal Aegis just going to be used right away so that K1 can burrow out. Meanwhile, the rest of B-Step whittling down the health bar of Punisher. So just the front wall for Team Freedom. But because they've been able to keep up in experience, they haven't lost out on structures too much from B-Step. We're seeing an experience advantage for Team Freedom.
Yeah, it is... they have, off of that one fight, being able to get that experience advantage, but I'm trying to figure out how big of an advantage it is. They do have two structures, and the little bit of experience should be able to benefit them. Just with 20 hitting and the late game now kind of ticking up for B-Step, their comp is only going to get stronger, which is unheard of. Oh, Dansky gets entombed. He's going to be fine thanks to the Expulsion Zone. But just the late game power spike between Lucio, Vala does decent, but the Leoric is insane. Those two heroes at the 20 threshold, their healing, their damage output, everything about them. So Freedom, I feel like, needs a bigger lead than they managed to get in this game, or at least needed a bigger structure lead, because they aren't anywhere near looking to end the game at this point. And things are only going to get better here for B-Step as Soak and experience is leveling up.
I find the level 16 talent for McIntyre pretty interesting, getting Wrath of Heaven, increasing ability power for iDream over having Reservoir of Hope to get those bigger and bigger heals. The questing talent, it's generally what you see with the level 7 talent, Bursting Light, but also with Searing Light, so you know you can increase the damage that can do too.
The 16 is always really weird on Ariel whenever I play her. I'm always in a position to where I'm like, the damage bonus, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, you know, you've got attack damage, you've got just the ability power bonuses, and you're like, both of these are okay. And then you've got the I can increase my healing if I get a big heal off, and it will always be able to scale upward. And every time I have that, I'm just like, you know, if I'm hitting these huge heals, like, do I really need more of them? Most of the time, right? Unless I have a Cho'Gall or an absurd health pool, I just often ask myself, is it going to be worth it for getting a talent, a quest talent that late in the game, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just, that has been, since she released, I've always been so put off by her 16. But it has, it was the must-have for most North America early on.
But with this one, with the damage at level 1.
Yeah, then that's when we see it the most.
Yeah. But it is cool to start seeing more Wrath instead of Will, so the spell power over attack with multi-shot Valas. We have started to see that in NA more.
Yeah. Taunt goes out onto Leo.
Expel, Horrify, and Expulsion Zone. And again, this Fear are so perfectly placed. It gets a kill before all of the support heroics for B-Step can sustain through the fight and allow them to go in. Every time, Dansky is getting just the right heroic.
I think, yeah, Gul'dan might be, you know, more of an answer, too, to what we see this double global, double warrior, double support composition in North America and Europe, because you do have to be clumped most of the time to be successful. And then also, obviously, double supporting. They don't have very much damage, and they are vulnerable to well-timed crowd control. Having an AoE and a displacement of positioning makes it to where even when, you know, the Horrify hits afterwards, they're so far away they still can't save the target.
Heroic difficulty is the level 20 choice for Insomnia on Ragnaros, which means, yeah, it's more damage. They're looking at it right now. Sulfurous Smash on top of Crystal Aegis again after the taunt. Expulsion Zone, perfectly placed. A nuke flies in. Leoric running away. The Punisher comes back, and Insomnia immediately takes over the keep with 20 advantage. Team Freedom are looking to tie the series up.
And it looks like they're going to be able to. Calf going in, desperately dropping the Entombed Zugrug, eating the entire strafe here, but with Molten Core, the Punisher, and everything still alive, Freedom is going to tie this series here 1-1 after game number 2 on Infernal Shrines.
Freedom with an answer to the double support, double warrior, and it came down to Dansky and his Horrifies. So many good ones. Even though, you know, we talked about the Sulfurous Smash, its inability to find the right targets, even when he started throwing it out more, often it was landing on Crystal Aegis, but just the idea that Crystal Aegis, even if that comes out, it is going to have an exact spot where you can horrify somebody and bring them into your team, and he did it every time. It's
the only support tool in the entire game where you legitimately disable your allies' movements, right? Is you're saving them to not save them. It's why it's one of the, in my opinion, it's harder than Palm, Ancestral, Divine Shield. It is the hardest support heroic to use in the game, period. Purely based on the fact that you have to not only consider how much HP you're negating in terms of loss, but then you have to consider whether or not they can survive afterwards, how much hope you get off of it, and whether or not they're in a position to survive off of that HP after you drop it. Like, everything about it was so very difficult, and Gul'dan's a prime example of like why it can be so crippling, because yes, you did save them, but they're always out of position, and then the Horrify hits after.
An amazing adjustment, being able to hit those Horrifies, even when the double support was going so well for B-Step in the early game, that made the difference. Now we're 1-1 in the game in these series, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll see who steps ahead in